Here we go. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Mo Money. I guess I'm the leader of the whole network. And with me, as always, the bistro of basketball knowledge, my co-pilot here at the buzzer. Gee, how you doing tonight, man?
Superb. Always good when it's a chance to talk some basketball, brother. So I'm keen on chatting some good ball today.
I have a general sports question for you. Who's luckier, you or the Kansas City Chiefs?
I mean, I've been so lucky in my life. I have to probably say me, but close second is the
It's
Chiefs.
close. It's close. But we're not here
like,
to
I've,
talk football.
yeah.
We're here to hoop it out tonight, and we're gonna
hmm
start with one of my two dudes of the week this week. Although technically I'd give it to him just based on merit. We'll start right where we should. Possibly the best big man in basketball. Actually, there's no possibly about it. Nikola Jokic had two monster games this weekend for the Denver Nuggets.
It's
He
like, hey,
led
what'd you do this weekend?
just 106 points and you know 35 rebounds and 17 assists or thereabouts. I'd
Oh,
call
so
that
you're
a pretty
playing
good
like
weekend.
you're playing 2K then? Da, da, da. No, it's just NBA game.
Oh my goodness, isn't that something? And we were
it's
just talking just now about the comparison of him and Tim Duncan. And if you don't mind, I'm going to get you to repeat what you said 30 seconds ago.
It reminds me a lot of how underrated he is while dominating the F out of everybody. Like it's sort of at its heart, it's taken for granted, and how good and how dominating they are. And then sometimes he puts in 100 points over 2 nights, and you
You're just
can't,
like that
no matter who
Joker.
you are.
You're
Yeah,
just that. And that's the problem, too. 100 points in 2 games, and you're just like, that's expected. Like that's the
almost.
scary
I mean,
part.
at 100 points, it's not surprising, and that's the scary part. But it is getting to the point now where you're like, how good can this guy get? Has he been holding stuff back?
And this is what I want to say too. This is what I want to say. Like we give KD and LeBron a tough time and everything like that, but can we just appreciate the magnificence of these athletes that go out and perform for us every night? That includes KD and LeBron and Joker when they have nights like this. And I'll even throw Giannis into that conversation. We don't appreciate these guys enough for the skill they have playing the game that we love.
Big time. And the level of competitiveness that some of these guys play with, the fire, like, even Steph Curry tonight was just so fired up. Like, like every game matters so much, and you love to see it. Love to see that, man.
But that's why we love the game, isn't it? That's why we love
hmm
the game because of that competitive fire. And like
Yeah.
to show you there's never a night off in the NBA, the Lakers came out tonight without LeBron and the final score was 107 to 98. So it was a 19-point win for the Lakers without LeBron. And that was after I got to be honest about this, G, the worst week of the Lakers season last week where they got blown out by 38-41, and then lost at the buzzer to Atlanta. Uh, that's a pretty bad week. So to come out and get Portland by 19, hey, it ain't much, but it's a step in the right direction.
They're not a serious basketball team.
No, a lot of teams
I
aren't
think that
serious.
I think that's the core of it, right? They're not a serious team. They, they
Well,
had
I
two
still,
people floating in the rumor mill this week for who might sign them, and it wasn't even joking. It was like, oh, there's rumors out there. Jordan Poole and JaVale McGee. These two guys are competing for the first place position in Shaqtin' a Fool appearances. How can both of them be guys on your radar? and not be considered a bit of a clown show, which might
No,
bring us to
no,
my most exciting topic, but go ahead.
but that's the problem. The Lakers like being the clown show these days. They enjoy it
Does everybody like it?
because they keep it. It keeps them in the news. So they'd rather be bad news than no news. And unfortunately, for those of us Laker fans who were built on winning, we just have to accept this gong show because there's nothing we can do about it.
Now, what if I were to tell you there's one way to change it all? The future of your franchise, perhaps the
Well, I'll
future
give
of
you,
basketball history. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, we've had
But
this
it's not going to
discussion.
include you as the
We,
Lakers. It'll
we,
include one of your former players, but you know.
we had the discussion on the phone, but let's clue the people in as to what you're thinking, and then I'll tell you why it's not going to happen the way you think it's going to happen.
All right. Well, first of all, I don't know if I would say I think it's going to happen, but I'm pitching it as if I were the businessman that's trying to make the deal happen, and as an NBA fan, that I think it would be pretty amazing to witness just from a fan perspective. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, this actually kind of makes sense the more I convince myself of it. So
No
Michael
more.
Wilbon,
Keep that sentence in mind, people. The more he convinces himself of it.
right? So Michael Wilbon was the first one to sell me on it. Much respect for the MW. Uh, he sold it simply by saying, "What else are you going to do? This is it. This is what the Lakers are at their best. Golden State has a chance, you know, this year to be a contender in the conversation. It might be a peripheral one, but they're in the conversation, whereas the
I
Lakers
disagree,
aren't.
but
And the idea is that LeBron James would be finishing his career as a Warrior, right? And how could such a thing happen? Is there any possible way? I've crunched some numbers. I've gone around and done a little bit of research, and after listening to the talking heads, I knew they probably wouldn't bring it up on ESPN if there wasn't some sliver Jim Carrey style. You're saying there's a chance, you know. Uh, and sure enough, there is. It would be a trade likely involving either Wiggins or Kuminga as the centerpiece. Likely Kuminga after they sign him to an extension, matching LeBron's salary and taking a poison pill clause so that they can get it done in December. It would also probably include picks and a couple of role players that are in the negotiation. And my whole argument for the reason that the Warriors would do this and sell off their, to them, probably their gold for 10 years is the Kuminga, in their mind, the glory that is what they're going to pay a max money for, $60 million Kuminga, man. They're going to bet their franchise on him just like they did on Jordan Poole. And I think a better bet might be to go all in when you have the single most recognizable basketball player for a reason open to coming to your team. And if you're Steph Curry and the Warriors, you go, we can lose a Kuminga and be fine. Like, it doesn't change our trajectory that much for the immediate purposes. But you add a LeBron as an extra finisher, as an extra intimidation factor, like I was talking about, the psychology of those two dudes standing there chirping at you before you start a game. It would just break people's minds a little bit that have grown up with both those guys on their walls. And so why would the Lakers do it? It's because he's going to be a sourpuss for the rest of the year. He's going to be sitting in every press conference going, whatever JJ said. No, whatever. He's checked out. He's telling you he's checked out. So if you're Lakers, this is your out. You can actually grab a centerpiece of Kuminga. You can get a couple role players. You can even get a couple draft picks. All you got to let go of is the sourpuss that is going to be the sourpuss all year anyways. And he's embarrassing when he doesn't want to play. He's the guy that takes his ball and goes home. And so it's not like he's going to be a average bad. When he decides he's out, he hops off the bus as hard as he dunks the ball, and it's pretty damn hard. So I would argue that it's in their best interest to try to find a decent deal for him while they still have him. And while it might make your competition better, you're being honest with yourself, at least in saying, he's not our route to the championship, unfortunately, in this year or the next. So we got to build for around that. That's my pitch. That's my pitch.
Can I rebut now? May I rebut this now?
Of course you can. Of course you can.
Okay, so here's why your scenario does not work. One, we have Westside Connect, who kind of fills the role of a Kaminga, and he's done quite well in his rookie season. Number two, if LeBron is going to San Francisco because it's not Oakland anymore, why would he do that when his production company's here, his family's here, everything's set up here? It would be easier for him to go, hey, Steph, your season's falling apart over there in San Francisco. Come over here to California.
You got to pull up the standings first here. Warriors are middle of the pack, 5th place to 12th place. It's not their season's off the thing.
The Warriors have gone 2-7 in their last 9.
They're middle of the pack right now.
Yeah, because they got off to that hot start. They went 2-7 in their last 9, if I'm not mistaken.
So, I don't know for sure, but anyways, continue.
Anyways, and you go to LeBron, and if you're Rob Pelinka and you're semi-smart, which I still contend he might not be, you say, hey, LeBron, we just gave your kid a charity $8 million for you to stay here. Why would we then trade you to Golden State? That would be my rebuttal.
What's he going to do there? Because he doesn't want to play there anymore. And he's LeBron. He does what he wants because that's who he is.
Yes, but you do not have control over where you go. If I'm going to send you somewhere, I'm going to send you to Charlotte and just make you a more miserable sourpuss.
Incorrect. There's one other person with a no trade clause in the NBA than Bradley
Beal. It's not LeBron. It's not LeBron. I hate to break it to you. When he signed his 4-year, when he signed his 4-year deal, there wasn't a no trade clause in there, if I remember correctly.
All right, here it is.
I could be wrong. Am I wrong?
NBA.com, July 7th, 2024, signed a 2-year, $101 million deal that includes a no trade clause.
Okay, see, he doesn't want to go.
Unless he wants to go. It's you see what I mean? If he wants to go, it's fine. It's if they want him to go and he doesn't, they can't force him to go. So he's got all the leverage. So he's got you behind a barrel.
Yeah, the Lakers are 3-6, 4-6 in their last 10. So they're struggling just as bad, if not worse, than the Lakers are. So yeah, what I'm saying, in all things being equal world, why would LeBron go to San Francisco when he's got a suite set up in LA and he can go, Steph, come play with us?
Dude, I think you're under a bit of a Lakers spell. And it's almost like understandable in the sense of like you might have a little bit of just the Lakers, and because I think unanimously everybody would agree that
it's my logic. My logic tells me that
they're trash this year compared to the Warriors. Every pundit's
the Warriors aren't great either.
I'm just saying what 95% of the pundits are saying.
You heard me say this even before the season started. Neither of these teams is any good.
I'm just saying what the rest of the basketball world's saying. They're saying that Golden State's got a shot and Lakers do not. Fair enough, but I'm just telling you what they're saying. And they're saying that if the Warriors believe they have a shot, that's a conversation.
So what do you tell Rob Pelinka then? If we just gave your kid who doesn't deserve a dime $8 million.
Well, Rob, this is why you don't play with big boys.
But see, now you're not
Because he
going
just got
anywhere.
fleeced, right?
I don't
Because
have
think
to
about it
trade
from
you.
LeBron's perspective.
I don't have
Think
to
about
trade
that.
you.
You don't have to, but I don't have to play.
That's fine. We're a playing team at best anyway.
But this is it. Do you want to go into a standoff of negativity where we're both just going to say, all
Yes,
right, F you, F you? Or do we both try to make the best of a situation?
yes, because I'm the guy that's like, LeBron, is this how you want your legacy to end?
He's thinking, yes, I'd love to go win a championship. Big
No.
time.
Do you want to sit out half the season in LA and just have people call you out?
Yeah, he
Or
doesn't care.
do you want to play
Doesn't care.
for us?
The only reason he's playing this year is for two reasons. One's already done, right?
No,
He's
I
already
get
taken
that.
care of the biggest thing. Like he
You've heard
only
it. You've
signed
heard
the deal so that he
you've
could
heard
get
me
that
complain
piece
about that
done.
already.
And he already did. He's played them on that, right? So he signed the deal, but it doesn't mean he's going to honor that to the best of his ability. It means that he
But
signed the deal.
neither do we.
Well,
We
this
don't
is a
have to play.
negotiation, right?
We don't have to placate to you.
But I think he holds more leverage if I would
How?
objectively look at it. Well, if he just says, well, okay, I guess this is it. You get me being tired.
And I'm saying that's how you want your legacy to go. Okay,
He,
cool.
I don't think he cares. I think he's willing to go into mediocrity and then just call it quits early because
Okay,
he's not going to want to be on a dying franchise and actually look like he's trying, because it's like the dunk contest theorem.
the
The
Lakers and
reason
their
LeBron didn't do the dunk contest, went way back, is because there's a chance he might not have won. And so if the Lakers are almost guaranteed to lose, do you think he's going to make it look like he's trying to win?
the reason we're quote unquote guaranteed to lose is because of him.
Oh yeah. He's played you. He's played you just like every other franchise he's played and moved on, because I think this could happen.
So he can sit there for the next year and a half then, if that's what he wants.
And he again comes out on top. He's got media stuff to do. He's got
No, he
other stuff to
doesn't.
do. He's
Because
going to go work on.
at the end of the day, we're still the Lakers, and we're still going to get the best players, and we're still going to be amongst the best teams, as long as we don't allow him to have it. Remember, I'm the guy that didn't want him to sign the first time around.
This is what I'm saying, man. I think he punked you guys in the sense that if he wants to sit that year and a half out and just collect checks and go do media business and ownership deals because he's prepping himself for NBA ownership.
Okay, here's the real discussion I have
it's
then.
pie. Then it's like, whose pie is getting effed with? It's just the Lakers pie. So yeah, they'll be fine, but they would be a heck of a lot more fine if they actually got something for that.
In a
$100
year and a
million.
half, we're going to be fine. If Steph wants to come to LA, he can come to LA. There's no way I'm trading LeBron James.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the argument that Kuminga is a future, like you're telling me you're gonna not trade a 40-year-old
We
guy
got
that's
left
saying he
side
doesn't
connect.
want to be there.
We have somebody in that spot already.
No. He's a completely different player. One's a spot up shooter, and one's a take it to the rim athlete, like superb athlete. That's Kuminga's whole thing. Is like, motherfucker can run. You know what I'm saying?
We'll see.
Like he can jump and run.
We'll see.
Connecting bad either, but he's mostly a shooter, and that's great. You need a good shooter. But are you going to say your next 6 years are better off with no Kuminga and the legacy of a sour LeBron? Like, from a money perspective, that 6 years looks a lot different if you spend your $100 million wisely here.
Because here's what you do. You say, LeBron, you're going to sit for the next year and a half if you're going to be a crybaby, and we're going to cut your kid. Because we don't need him to be a charity case.
But back in the business rooms and stuff, they won't do that. They just won't. It's like it seems like a bit of a nepotism club, right? Where
See, this is why I should be running the Lakers. Jeannie, if you
Yeah.
need somebody to straighten out this franchise, give me a call.
Man, honestly, I think it starts with sending him and bringing in a B+ franchise star that is 25 years old or something. You're gaining 15
you
years.
just said the magic words. A B+ star. The Lakers don't do
Also
B+.
15 years. 15 years difference.
The Lakers do not do B+ stars.
Well, then you're going to get a C- one.
Go down the list. Kareem, Magic, Kobe, Shaq, LeBron. We don't do B+ stars.
Connect? You think Connect is next?
I think he's good. I think he's a solid piece.
Do you put him in the category of those guys?
No. Because he's a rookie.
But he's also 24. He's the same
But
age as Kuminga.
I'm also not putting Kuminga in that. I've seen Kuminga struggle for years. Straight out years. And you're telling me the prize piece that I get back is Kuminga? Are you kidding me?
Man, if you think LeBron's worth more than a superstar for the next 15 years, if you think a half a season, he's got a heck of a lot more chance of being a superstar for the next 10 years than LeBron does of having a transcendent half a year. Like,
look at Kuminga's last 3 seasons.
Again, we're not saying he's perfect. We're not saying he's going to change the face of basketball, but you are stuck with a situation of a 40-year-old player that's eating your entire salary. And do you think he's going to get you to a championship?
That's a year and a half of struggle versus a 6 or 7 year struggle with Kuminga. That's a huge difference, my friend.
Yeah, but you're not losing anything from investing in somebody that's going to be a healthy young star no matter what for the next 10 years.
I don't think he's going to be a star.
Dude, he's going to get a max contract wherever he goes so that everybody else thinks
good
so.
for him. I'll tell you what, when Kuminga gets
for the sake of argument, if 30 other teams are willing to give him a max art contract, people think he's got something to it. So the Lakers are going to entertain it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I think so. I'm saying everybody else is saying this. Right? He's going to get a max contract anywhere. It does. I'm not saying our opinion, dude. I'm saying in the way that people are saying it right now, he's going to get a max contract worth $60 million a year.
And you know what?
As Kuminga.
I will say the same thing to Kuminga as I said to Freddie. I'm happy for you, but I'm sure the hell glad it wasn't us. That's my message to Kuminga. He'll get it somewhere.
I think
it doesn't
there's probably
have
a lot
to
of
be
teams
here.
saying that about LeBron. And a lot of teams saying that about LeBron and Bronny. Right?
First of all, I didn't want to sign him 6 years ago, so I don't know what you're pinning that on me for.
I think they just need to make a move, or they're going to go down in a pretty rough fashion. And the only one
I'm not saying we don't make a move, but I'm saying you have to understand the Laker way from day one has you come to us. We don't give you anything.
But sometimes changing times require adapting, or you'll get left in the dust. Just ask the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys are...
They're Jerry Jones trying to do things as he's always done them, and times have changed, and you need more input, and you need more professionals to get advice from, and he's not doing it, and he never adapted. I think the Lakers are at a crossroads, right?
The Lakers haven't been right since they installed Rob Pelinka.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm just saying that's not the way the Lakers do things. We're not the Charlotte Hornets.
I guess by selling off LeBron, I guess the question would be, are you like, what are you giving up by letting LeBron go? Like what part of this season gives you like the confidence going into the playoffs that he's got what it takes to be the lead?
He doesn't have to be the lead guy.
Yes, he does.
As a matter of fact, he's not the lead guy on this team anymore. You know it, and I know it.
Dude, when he wants to be, AD is that, but has he ever played an entire season wanting to be?
No, but neither has Kaminga. You're trying
Again,
to sell me
again,
Magic
no.
Johnson
No,
like
I'm telling you, there's
Jackie
a
Levine stuff.
superstar, a young superstar that anybody's going to give a max contract to
No, you
that you
have
could
young
have.
potential. Zach Levine got a
He's,
max contract. He's not a superstar. Just because you get a
no,
max deal doesn't make you a superstar. It means
no, I
somebody
know
made
that.
it means somebody made a gigantic mistake.
Yeah, and in this case, I think it's the Lakers have already made one by giving LeBron a guy
So you
that
want
can't
to
run on defense.
so you want to compound that by sending LeBron to Golden State and giving me the next max contract that's going to send me back another 5 years. How does that make sense?
Because I'm getting you out of the current mess. The current mess
But you're
is that
extending it by 5 years.
all right, I want to just do a quick side by side in your mind of LeBron's last game, the 40-point loss when he was getting back on defense, or not even. How many times has he just walked off the floor?
Yeah, that's what he does.
Sometimes it's because he's too tired. Sometimes it's because he's just pissed off or whatever. Sometimes it's though he's old and he can't even get up and down the floor. You have Jonathan Kuminga is maybe the top 5 athletic guys in the league, just as a by the way. Like
Just
you have
as
an
a
old
by the
man
way,
with
he's
broken
not worth the
legs.
max deal.
All right. All right. I don't know what the Lakers will be doing in 3 years, but we won't be taking any calls.
I don't need you to.
What do you think is going to be there? AD will be gone. LeBron's gone. Connect will be an average star.
He's still playing better than Kaminga at this moment.
No, that's not true.
Oh, you don't think so?
Is it?
You don't
Last
think
3
that
games. The last 3 games, Kuminga's got 33, 13, and 20. What's Connect got?
what did Connect have tonight? Because Kaminga had 20.
Dude, 2 points, 14 points, 16 points, 33, 20, and 15. It's not even close. Not even
Dude,
close.
I'm telling you,
That's a 4 point. So like I'm on the average of that.
it's not a good deal.
All right. So I think the broken 40-year-old is somehow worth more than a primo young
See,
athlete.
we overvalue players so hard in this league. Yes, Kaminga's going to get his $60 million, but he's not worth the max deal, and then you're just saddled with him for the next 5 years.
But isn't that better than 2 complete washes of years because LeBron isn't able to run on the floor?
Because LeBron's $40 million will be useful in a year and a half, and Kaminga will still be overpriced.
Why would it be useful?
In 40 years, we can go and get 2 players for LeBron's money.
Nobody's going to want LeBron in a year. Nobody.
He's going to be a free agent.
Nobody's going to want him.
You didn't
Oh,
hear
you
me.
know who would? The Lakers will sign him.
You didn't hear me. He will be a free agent, which means we won't owe him a dime. And then we'll cut his loser kid. Because he can't.
You know that's not the way this world has gone.
So it's like
why would it suddenly not?
It's like we're saving $50 million as opposed to paying Kaminga 60.
All right, here's my crystal ball, man. I see a year from now. Oh, LeBron signed an extension because he's still got it, folks. He's still got it. It's a 1 year, but you know what? $40 million, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. He's still got it. He's still got it. And Bronny's developed that, guaranteed he's going to sign another 1 year with the Lakers, and that'll be another year of your 5 that you're projecting. So that's 3 years of nonsense. And then you start building.
As opposed to Kaminga 6 years of nonsense, and then we start over anyway.
No, you start building now around the
If
concept
you,
of a team. Of the concept of a team, dude, not just one
I'll,
guy. You
I'll
build
break this.
around Kaminga.
I'll break this down in a way you can understand. Signing Kaminga to $60 million is like giving Quigley $130 million. It should never happen. It should never
That's
happen.
that's the modern NBA salaries. That's just how
It
it
should
is.
never happen.
There shoulds and shouldn't, but there is.
Well, then I will say the same thing to Fred that I said to Freddie. I'm glad he got his money, but I'm glad it wasn't with us.
But it is going to be you.
No, it's
The
not, because
LeBron money.
you're assuming that we're going to trade you for Kaminga.
I think being stuck with LeBron for the next 3 years is a lot worse.
It's a year and a half, bud.
It's on his schedule. You know it.
He's
I
going
know
to
it.
be 41.
Perfect.
By the time the deal ends,
Let
he's
the
going to be
history books.
41.
And do you think if he's still got even a little bit of juice, he's not going to play another year and soak in that LA?
No.
You know he will. You know he will.
No.
What about LeBron tells you that he's going to suddenly just go, you know
What
what?
about the
Take
Lakers
your
telling you they're that stupid?
everything. Everything in the last 5 years tells you that. You know what I
No,
mean? Why
because in
would
the
they
last
suddenly
5 years
pivot?
we have a ring. See, there you go. You can't be moving the goalpost. Either one counts or none of them count.
The scrimmage one counts as a scrimmage, and the
Okay,
ones
then
with fans
KD's don't
counts as
count
ones with
because he
fans.
had 4 Hall of Famers on his team and he just jumped teams, so that doesn't count. Let's see. Kawhi's doesn't count because everybody got hurt on the path to the chip.
You're talking about players. I'm talking about changing 50,000 screaming people. That's not the same game.
You're changing the rules. So if you can change the rules, so can I.
Okay.
Either one counts or none of them count.
All games played under the NBA conditions count.
Yeah, they agreed to those conditions. Those were sanctioned NBA games. Those were NBA conditions.
Yeah. If you can believe that that's an equal championship, that's fine. I don't believe it is. You know.
Well, then
It's just
you don't
like
get
go
the
to a
power.
jam.
You don't get the power to change the rules at your convenience. That's all I'm saying.
I can decide what my eyes see.
I can
And
decide what
you
my
know,
eyes see too, and you want me to pay Kaminga $60 million over the next 5 years on a max deal at $320 million when you know he's not worth anywhere close to that.
hey man, the deal's retracted. We're actually never gonna mention it again. Don't come to us with any nonsense, blah blah blah. Enjoy LeBron. We've
That's
changed our
fine.
mind.
That's fine. Because you know what? Here's the thing about Golden State. You're going to be in the exact same position as us at the end of the year. You're going to be in the play-in tournament. And we're going to have a good chuckle about this whole conversation.
I'll put $40 on Warriors in the playoffs. Lakers play in. Maybe not even play in. I might even say
All right,
out.
I'm telling you, they're both going to be playing teams.
I'd put 40 on the Warriors to be.
This is not new. You heard me say this before before the beginning of the season, didn't you? I said the Warriors and Lakers are going to be the exact same franchises they're going to be in the play-in tournament. And I still won't watch. So I'll gladly take your $40. By the way, subscribe to the channel because we get along like this all the time. So keep plug. The animosity.
Have you ever been to a music show with no fans or a comedy show with no fans?
Yeah, it's called open mic night.
How was that experience compared to Bill Burr with 50,000 people, or Led Zeppelin with 50 to 100,000 people, or AC/DC? Was there a difference?
Slightly, but that doesn't mean that's not
No,
basketball.
they're both music. They're both music.
They are both music, and they both count because you know what? But one was amateur and one wasn't. These were all professional athletes playing the game.
All right, let's say the coffee shop hosted, or no, let's say it was a big auditorium. Big auditorium, the classic, the same one the NBA players play at. There's nobody
Okay.
there. And it's just you listening to Bon Jovi play their set. Okay? Tomorrow
Okay.
night, you get to see it again, but it's with every single seat packed. Every single seat. Tell me the
It's
difference of those
it's
2
gonna be
nights.
better. It doesn't discount what happened the night before.
No, just how drastically different are those 2 nights? Are they even the same experience? They're
They're
not the
not the
same
same
experience.
experience, but that doesn't mean the championship doesn't count.
Right, but one's like going to a
And
scrimmage, like a jam. If you're in the stadium and it's just you watching the band
okay,
perform, there's no stakes of the thing mattering in the room. You know what
before
I
we
mean?
lock this
It's a
in,
scrimmage.
before we lock this in, I want you to understand what you're getting into. Okay, because I just pulled up the Western Conference standings in front of me right now. The Warriors are 14-9, and the teams behind them are the Clippers by a half game, which I don't know how you're barely ahead of the Clippers if you're so on fire. Minnesota, who's been on fire, is catching them.
The team they beat tonight?
The Suns are 8th, and the Denver Nuggets are 9th. There's no way they stay above the 6th place line. There's
What
no way.
standings are you looking at?
The Western Conference standings.
Oh man, Dallas.
There's no way.
Man, I'll up the bet if you want, but I think 40's fine. But
I'm fine with taking your $40. I don't want to hurt you.
this is one I would say is considered a great bet, where I think you just got blinders up for whatever reason.
Oh no, I'm looking at the teams behind them and how close they are and how good the Clippers are, and you're barely ahead of them. We've had discussions about
When did you become a Clippers fan?
I didn't say I was a Clippers fan. I said we've had discussions on how bad the Clippers are, and you're barely ahead of them, and you think they're going to stay above the cut line? I disagree,
Of course
my
they
friend.
will. They're going to be well above it.
I disagree, my friend.
Because the Clippers don't have anybody. The Nuggets can't even win when Jokic scores 56 points. We can destroy the Timberwolves. The Suns are one slip of an ankle away from obscurity. Spurs have nothing. Kings have nothing. So what are you talking about, man? None of those teams scare me.
Okay.
Not a single one.
Okay.
The Mavericks don't even scare me. Houston doesn't scare me. Memphis doesn't scare me. The only team that scares me is OKC. And if it's 1 and 2 of us that are looking at the teams that, that's nowhere near the play-in.
They just went 1-6, so I hope you know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, the eye test. Mr. Steph Curry is not messing around.
This is not the 2017 Warriors.
This ain't the scrimmage that the Lakers can win this year.
This ain't your brother's Warriors, dude.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think they're going to do. Yeah, I mean, Memphis is not going to be scary to them. Houston's not going to be scary to them. Mavs, maybe. That'll be a good series. That would be a good series, but
they're not. They got to get into this playoff first. They're not. They're going to be in a play-in team.
And I don't know what basketball you've been watching. There's none of those teams. But have you been watching the Clippers, Nuggets, Lakers, T-Wolves, Suns? They're all trash. Even the Mavs are higher than they should be. The Mavs are mostly trash this year. They've won their last few because of.
If it wasn't for that hot start, the Warriors would be rating them back of the pack with the rest of us where they should be. They got off to a hot start. Their schedule is going to even out, and then we'll be back to where we should be.
Dude, a hot start doesn't happen because you know, the Winds just decided that you're your favorite
I
band or
have
team to play on.
I have zero faith in this Warriors team.
What's with the dismissal of actual wins? Like somebody gets a bunch of wins and so it's a quick start or hot start, and then that's dismissed. It's like
Hey,
why
be
is
fair. I
why is
did
that
this.
just?
Be
But
fair.
why
I
is
did
that a
this to
flash
the
in the
Lakers
pan?
too. I did this
But
to the Lakers too. Be fair, because
yeah, but there's
because
nothing to indicate that the Warriors don't have the depth this year to actually make that
they
stand
just had
up.
a
They do.
5-game losing streak and they won one of their last 7. So I don't know what you're talking about. There's no indication of how bad this team can be.
No, I said that the depth is there. They can have bad streaks. They're going to have moments in the season like any team, but when you have a great start, that can't be taken away. Like you can't suddenly just say, "Oh, now that it's their lost games, that's the real them," but all the other games were fake them.
I
Like,
called the Lakers on it too.
yeah, because the Lakers are
I'm
trash.
consistent. See,
That's correct, though.
you're taking away their early hot start as if it didn't matter. So why can't I do the same?
I'm looking at the
That's what I'm.
roster and I'm
No,
looking
no,
at the role players.
you can't do that. That's not how it works. You can't say one hot start matters, but the other one doesn't.
Yes, fool's gold can be fool's gold, and gold can be gold.
Okay, then you're betting on fool's gold. That's what I believe
All right, that's our bet.
because I've seen them go 1-6 already this year, and I know how
Hey,
badly they can struggle.
you focus on what you want to focus on. I'll focus what I want to focus on. That's that.
Okay, but I feel like I should give you an out in case one of Curry's ankles goes and then the whole season goes down the toilet. So I'll give you that out if Curry gets hurt.
And what kind of favors would you like for your Lakers? Do they need
Oh, I'm not asking for favors for the Lakers. I know what my team is. They're either going to be a Laker play-in team if LeBron and AD keep it together, or they're going to be a lottery team. One or the other.
and why are
I've
you okay with being a lottery team?
Why am I okay? I'm never okay with being a lottery team.
You
But
have
I'm
the best
also
player in the league, arguably, on your team with AD,
no, we
and you're
don't.
going to be in the lottery? That's the most embarrassing thing you could
No,
do.
we don't.
Dude, he can play like the best player in the league sometimes.
Shea would be more optimal than AD. Jokic is better than AD.
Two, two, two
There,
different
there,
guys on
there
that
are
one. But yeah,
there are
Jokic is Jokic, but you know what I mean? He's always in the conversation of when he's dominant, he's top 5 in the world dominant. Nobody can stop him. So you can't suddenly just say he's an average guy and then go to the lottery. It's like that's a tragedy. That's a tragedy.
that's not a tragedy. That's realism, because all it takes is for him to say, "I'm street clothes again," be out for 3 weeks, us to miss 6 games, 7 games in a row, and then we are a
No,
lottery.
I'm saying if he plays the whole season, let's say he's got his best season ever, plays the whole thing, and they're still a lottery team.
No, if he
How
plays
is
the
that
whole,
acceptable?
if
How
they
is that
play the
acceptable?
whole season, they're going to be a playing team.
Let's say they're not. Let's say they go into the lottery.
That's fine. As long as we don't trade our first round pick in an effort to get better at the trade deadline, that's fine.
Crazy.
Expectation rules the day.
If you had Jokic and you end up in the lottery, it's okay.
Depending upon the team around him.
I'm gonna argue and say that's never okay because you owe it to the guy to build a team that has a fighting chance. It's not
There,
okay to just let his years be wasted if
it
he's
is
that
okay
guy.
if he's not available.
Let's say he is this year.
Well, then if AD and LeBron are available, we're going to be a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seed. We're not going to be in the upper echelon of the playoffs. We're going to be that middle of the pack playing team.
best. I think the T-Wolves and the Suns are going to pass the Lakers, and I think you know that too.
The T-Wolves and the Suns are already ahead of the Lakers. What are you talking about?
My standings have Lakers at 8.
They have us here at 10.
Okay.
So
But yeah, to be fight. So with the healthy LeBron, healthy AD, and your entire cap spent, you're fighting for the 10th spot for the next foreseeable future.
I don't know what I don't know what you're so upset about. I told you this at the beginning of the year.
I'm just saying it's interesting that not interested in doing anything about a complete train wreck heading off the tracks. It's like, okay,
Golden
there might
State's not
not
going to
be.
do anything either.
I'm just saying there might not be a perfect deal, but there's one train that's heading off the tracks and one train that might be just heading on to the promised land. Wouldn't you behoove yourself to do something if you're
If
seeing
there's
these
a,
two trains head in different directions?
we had this discussion last week. If you can go get me a Zach LaVine, by all means, to play with AD and LeBron, then go do it. But if you can't make the move, I'll say it again, just like last week. If you can't make the move, don't trade the draft pick.
But more the question is, are you going to roll ride or die with AD and LeBron to the end of this with just being a lottery team for the next 2 years?
If you can't improve us in a significant way, then yes.
Yeah. Horrible way to run a franchise.
No, it's a realistic look at a franchise.
I think it's been stubborn of like, no, we don't want to do anything about these aging superstars on our roster. So rather than do something about it, because we can't accept that, time is taking its toll.
If you can go get me a Zach LaVine or a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, then by all means do it. But don't destroy the next 5 years of my franchise because you want to get rid of LeBron.
But wouldn't the question be start building now for the next 5 years, because the current build is not meant to do anything? So why don't you get...
No, but not if it's going to help the team that's going to be in the play-in beside me.
But no, you're making it so it works so that it helps you.
That's what I'm saying. You said, are we
talking about over the long term, because the argument is this year you can't do it. So you're folding your cards this year so you can have more money and cards in the future. Warriors go all in because they feel like, oh no, this is the time to do it.
If I'm Rob Pelinka, okay, let me just hammer this out. If I'm Rob Pelinka and I see you're going to be sitting next to me when this is all said and done anyways, why would I then send a Hall of Famer to you so that you're not in the play-in beside me? That makes no sense. That puts me in the lottery. That puts me in the lottery and you in the playoffs. And then you're going to get me to pick Kuminga, who's going to backtrack me another 5 years because he's going to get a max deal at $60 million. That makes no sense for my franchise long term. None.
But so does doing nothing. That makes
doing nothing is a year and a half. It's not a 7-year process.
But it's a year and a half of nothing. It means you have to wait to start your process.
But then that's wasting 7 years on Kuminga if I do the deal.
I think you're doing your math wrong, bro.
Kuminga's not going to be what you think he is.
Okay, so 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027. At that 2026, 27 mark, you're finally free of LeBron. Oh, unless he signs another deal. So that's when you're going to start your rebuild, is in 2026.
Are you going to let him play till he's 50? What is he, Jaromir Jagr?
Okay, let's say he doesn't. But you're starting your rebuild at 2026. If you had started in 2024, you'd be 2 years ahead. No matter if Kuminga is the best player in the world or not, you're still 2 years ahead on your rebuild than you would be if you started in 2026.
You just gave me Quigley.
Kuminga, and it's not setting you in back.
It's setting me back 5 years. Because a max deal is 5 years.
I just don't understand. You have to have players on the floor. You can't just not be a franchise for 4 or 5 years or something like that. Like, who do you want to be on your team? Do you want So 2024, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 to not have anything, any prospects, at least
No,
Kaminga's
understand this.
you know what I mean?
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if I'm Rob Pelinka, I'm not going to go to the Warriors and give them LeBron James if I know they're going to be standing next to me. If I'm trading LeBron, I'm trading him back east, and I'm still recouping assets for it that way.
But you're thinking of yourself as a contender right now, and that's incorrect.
No, I'm not. You just heard me say we're a play-in team at best.
But then that shouldn't matter who your opponent is. Who cares if the Warriors go ahead because you're not competing with them right now, right? Like, you know what? If you're not competing for a
But I
championship in the
don't
next
want the
2 years,
piece you're offering me. I can get a better piece elsewhere, is what I'm saying.
I don't think so.
Kuminga
Because
is not
LeBron doesn't want to go anywhere else. All I'm saying is you have an asset that's overvalued and depreciating quickly. It's like somebody bought a model, a beautiful model car, but it actually has a ton of miles on the engine, needs a complete redo, but you'll get one summer out of it. That's fine. Or you can have this car that's average and stuff, but at least it's going to work for 5 years. You know what I mean? At least it's a working star.
But I'm supposed to pay it $320 million over that 5 years. That's not happening.
All right, so you don't pay it, and you don't have a proven, talented, young, athletic star. What's your move?
We go out in the free agency July 1st and do what we always done.
Stink it up.
Are you kidding?
I don't think free agency is going to be that
Did you not hear
lucrative anymore. Free agency is different now, right? With the new rules and everything, the way that people are going about their business and locking in 5-year deals. Not a lot of free agents coming out. What, Shea going to be a free agent? Giannis going to be a free agent? Luka going to be a free agent? Anybody going to be a free agent? Nobody's a free agent.
I'm just saying, I'm not signing Quigley. I'm not signing the equivalent of Quigley to another $130 million deal. That's not happening.
Right. But then your decision is nothing.
That's what Kuminga is, though. He's Quigley.
Yeah. And again, it's better than nothing.
So why should I set my franchise back another 5 years when all I have is a year and a half left? That makes no sense.
No, because it's at least you have a working star. Because there's nobody else on the Lakers that's as good as Kuminga, right? If you take away AD,
I'll take Austin Reeves over Kuminga. First of all, I'll do that all day long. I will take AR-15 over Kuminga any day of the week.
That puts you in the 0.0001% of basketball.
That's fine.
And that is fine.
Because you know why? Because the 99% want to pay Kuminga $320 million, and you know he's not worth that. You know
because they still have to, because they have a business to run. You have to have a product to put on the court. Okay, 2027 is here. You're at the Staples Center. Who's starting? Do you have any stars? Any?
We can get stars. We're Los Angeles, baby.
See, this is the delusion right there. This is like the hot chicken that's way past her prime, and she's like, I can get anybody I want. And it's like,
no, you're telling me.
I think you're caught in the past, my lady. I think you're caught in the past. This is the best you're gonna get.
You're telling me the nerdy girl is okay because it makes us average, and that's okay because we're gonna be average.
It's something to build. It's something to build. It's something to build up.
No, you build around a centerpiece. He's not a centerpiece. No matter how you slice it and dice it, Kuminga is not a centerpiece.
I'll wait for the perfect man. He's coming. He's going to come to me because I'm the hot chick, and so the perfect guy's going to come to me. Sound familiar?
It's better than spending 7 years of your life going, oh, we should have done a lot better over this stretch of time.
7 years. Why not 5? Right? If you sign him to a 5-year deal, it starts now.
Yeah, but that still sets us back 5 years.
Okay, so you choose to do nothing, and it's 2 years from now, and you still have nothing.
That's not what I said. I said I'm not sending him to Golden State. Why would I send him to
He
the
has a
other
no
org?
trade clause. He has a no trade clause, bro.
Then he's not going anywhere.
Unless he wants to.
No, he's not going anywhere. Unless he blackmails Rob Pelinka.
Of course he will. He's LeBron. How do you think he got to Miami? How do you think he got to Cleveland? How do you think he got to LA?
He's 40 now. He doesn't have that stroke.
Delusion. Everything in the
Tell me,
information.
why would I?
Because all the history, all the evidence says that.
Here's the thing I'm saying. Give me a reason why I should help you and make my franchise bad for the next 7 years.
Because I was trying to do you a favor. At this
Yeah,
point, I'm
that's
just
some
feeling
favor.
sorry for you.
That's some favor. Yeah, thanks.
Bro, again, I'll love to see who this centerpiece is that you're bringing in over the next 5 years. But if you don't got anybody, you have to put a team on the floor to entertain some kind of competitiveness. There ain't no free agents. It's not 2012. It's not like that anymore. There aren't people just waiting around to sign. There's better teams. Shay's sticking it out in OKC. Giannis is sticking it out in Milwaukee. You know what I mean? Like, there's nobody coming to save
Giannis
you.
has already threatened to leave. That's the funny part. Giannis has already threatened to leave.
Nobody's coming to save you is the point. So what do you want to do about it, right?
Well, the answer ain't Kuminga, so
and neither is nothing. Neither is doing nothing. Is my point. Is you can't just sit there and go, "Well, we don't want to."
I'm not setting my franchise back.
But
So
that's what you're doing by not doing anything. By not doing anything, you are setting them back because you're not doing anything.
Not by 7 years. Not by 7 years.
I don't know where the 7 years comes from. Where does 7 years come from?
Because you have to ride out Kuminga's current deal, and then you have to pay him. That's where the 7 years comes from.
It would be 5 total.
It would be this year plus whatever he's got left on his deal plus another 5. Unless he's a free agent this year.
It would be they're extending his rookie deal to be a max contract.
What I'm saying is, how long does he have left on that rookie deal? Because when
that's done. It's done this year.
Okay, then I wouldn't re-sign him if I was Golden State, but
yeah,
he's Quigley, man. I'm telling you, I'm not wrong.
No, but you have to be realistic too. Of like, okay, so not him. So you're sticking with the bum, the 40-year-old bum and his son.
If he doesn't want to go anywhere, then yeah, because I can get a better piece than Kuminga elsewhere.
No, you can't. Is my argument. Who? Where?
There's a lot of pieces out there
that LeBron would want to go to. That's a 1 hour flight, or not
LeBron
even
doesn't.
half-hour flight.
That's why I told you at the beginning of the podcast, it's not happening. If anything,
it's a half-hour flight from San Fran to LA. Not even half-hour. It's a 20-minute plane ride.
Coming to LA. I told you
that is the most diluted thing I've ever heard. Literally, that's the most diluted basketball take I've ever heard. Steph going to LA Lakers.
I said I didn't say it when he was going. I said if anything happens, it'd be him coming this way.
I don't know what world that would be. That is not this universe. That is, dude. Look, here's the thing: LeBron is not a loyal guy. Steph Curry's a loyal guy. Who do you think's going to be loyal?
You have nothing of value to me.
Dude, you're not looking at the reality of the situation. You have
an
egomaniac.
That is the reality of the situation. You have nothing of value. To make a trade, you have to have something of value.
Man, if you think LeBron has value right now, you are deluded. The only reason he has value is that if he joined with Steph, there's a special combustion that happens.
No problem.
Where they will become a superhero.
We're not sending him to Golden. Why would I send him to the team that's going to end up right next to me?
Dude, why would the most loyal guy in the league suddenly decide to jump ship?
I'm not
compared to the least loyal guy making a big fuss. Like all the behavior and patterns follow LeBron to make this jump. None of the history or patterns says that Steph would make that jump. So in reality terms, based on history and actions and personality, the person that's going anywhere is LeBron to Golden State. Why? Because he can blackmail his way out.
It's not the Laker way. It's never been the Laker way.
So if somebody jumps in front of you in the alleyway and they're like, give me all your money, you're like, that's not my way. That's tough.
There's a quote that says, there's an old quote that says, I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees.
Man, and if you call this living on your feet with your star player walking off and not playing defense, then that is a weird definition of living on your feet, man. You know what I'm saying? That is not what the Lakers are doing right now. You know it, I know it.
As opposed to giving Kuminga 320?
If you can find something better, you're welcome to it. Right?
That's the thing. There are so many pieces that are better than Kuminga in the league.
That you would be able to trade somebody for. LeBron has a half. That would be a 30-minute flight from his house. What other team is closer?
That's why you're saying he doesn't need
Sacramento. What if he blackmails you? Something that he would absolutely do.
It's just
right. It's the guy in the alleyway that's like, "Give me your money," and you're like, "No, man, I don't play that game." And he's like, "All right, I'm still going to take your money." And it's like you can either go down screaming, or you can make a deal and find a way that we both walk out of this winning.
I'm going. If you're going to take me out anyway, then you're going to take me out, and you're going to spend 25 years behind bars. That's how it goes, dude. Yeah.
Except that I think they got the speed factor on them. You know what I mean? Like
my money means nothing if you can't spend it, homie.
Yeah, I think LeBron can spend his money though, and he can quite enjoy spending it and doing whatever he wants for the next 2 years while you guys suffer. That's no problem for him.
No, well, he can sit on the bench and he can see. Here's where you got.
You don't think LeBron could control the media narrative and create some sort of thing that he's got a serious injury, but
he's a crybaby.
Just looking at the history and patterns. The world
knows he's a crybaby. We don't believe his narratives anyway.
It doesn't matter what you believe. He spins them. He gets ESPN to spin them.
Just like when KD speaks, we don't care what he says either.
So why does every single outlet cover every single word they say?
Because the crybabies create drama and controversy creates cash.
Oh, so it's like they control the narrative then, is what you're saying.
No, they create controversy, which creates cash. See, the NBA,
yes. What's the goal? The goal is to get cash, so they're controlling the narrative to get cash. They're doing the thing to get the thing.
The machine gets cash. The machine doesn't care where the money comes from. The machine just cares it's getting money.
And so LeBron isn't getting money?
So when they pout, so they get covered.
Yeah. And that's the power of their influence. They can do what they want.
It's the same reason we cover useless Ben Simmons, because he's interesting and he's good to laugh at. Because he
used to be.
Because he creates controversy. It's the same thing.
I think he used to.
The world is simple, man. See, you're looking at this from a perspective of LeBron needs another ring. I'm looking at this from a perspective of there's no way in common sense, right mind, you'd make that move. For one, the team you think is going to be right beside you, which means you think they're dog crap too, you're going to help them to a title? Why?
Why do you think they're dog crap?
Because they are, dude.
Can we just move past opinions? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I get it. You don't think they're very good. I get it.
No, but what I'm saying is, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if I think you're going to be right beside me, why would I give you a championship ring? Why would I even give you the opportunity when you don't have nothing I want? There's nothing on your roster that could appease me. That's how a trade works, man.
All right. It's just that you have a very strong opinion on somebody that everybody else in the league would be happy to take a chance on. That's fine that you
Take,
don't want to.
take
But
your roll of
again,
the
that's
dice.
the chick. That's the
Take
chick at the dance that's like, I'm good. It's our friend that is, our mutual friend that's like, I want it this way, so I'll wait for that. It's like thinking that you have control over the perfect fucking everything because it's got to be perfect up here. Da da da. It's the Lakers. It's
No, I
perfect.
just
It's
said
like,
I wouldn't. See, that's where you get confused because I keep telling you I just wouldn't trade him to Golden State because I think they're going to be right next to me. If
but
I'm going to make
that's the only team he wants to go to. So there's no more deals then, and you
too
get to
too
just
bad
ride
for
out
him. Too
$100
bad,
million
too
of
bad for him.
nothingness.
Too
Yes,
bad for him.
that's not the deal. He's got the no trade clause, brother. He's got $100 million coming to him, whether you
Yeah,
like it or not.
he's got the no trade clause. I don't have to trade you.
Yeah. So you have to pay him though, $100 million.
$100 million is better than 320 on the back end to Kaminga.
But you're wasting $100 million on nothing.
It's better than wasting 320 million on mediocre. The risk reward doesn't add up, is what I'm saying, dude.
But you're looking at it in a vacuum. You're looking at it as if
I'm looking at it as a deal, as a basketball deal.
All right, then tell me what your plan is.
My plan is if Golden State wants to make this deal, he's coming
No,
here.
that's off the table. You're
Then
the
so
Lakers.
is LeBron.
What's happening? Give me your 5-year plan.
I don't have to give you no 5-year plan.
I'm just I'm not
For
the
the sake of
Warriors
the
anymore.
podcast. For the
Yeah, I'm
sake of
not
the
the Warriors,
podcast.
but because you're so strong against
I'm
Kaminga, you must have a plan. You must have a plan because just saying no to the thing and then not having a plan would just be fucking just being negative. You're just not even looking at the deal then because you just want to look at nothing. It's like
no,
you
I'm
have to
looking at
make a decision. So what's your plan? What's the game plan?
I'm looking at let's not trade LeBron James for Quigley.
Perfect. What's the game plan? Ride this
The
out.
game plan is you look for a deal that helps the team. If it doesn't
There's
help
no
the
deal.
team, like I said last week and this week, you don't make that deal because those draft picks can be used at a later date to get a star player that is much better than Kaminga.
In what world do you think that there's a guarantee of a draft pick
Dude, you act like the Lakers
being a
have never done
star?
this before.
You act like they do it every year.
They do. Look, we went to Milwaukee, got Kareem. We went to Orlando.
I see what's happening. The time that we've lost ourselves in the time machine here, brother. We're talking about 2024. What's the last 10 draft picks been? Are they as any of those stars? Because because you're telling me that based on the last 10 years of draft picks, there's at least one in there that's going to be such a big star that oh my God. So over the next 10 years, your draft pick, at least one of them is going to be so much better than Kaminga that it's going to change the game. Is that what you're saying? Your draft pick is going to be so good that it's going to make a bigger difference than Kaminga.
You're looking at the guy that would have drafted Jason Tatum over
Again, what are we talking about? What time machine are we in? What are we talking about?
See, would you take that Jason Tatum draft pick over Kaminga? Yes, you would. I would have made that pick, but I wasn't the GM at the time.
Oh, you know what? I would have taken Jokic. What are we talking about?
That's what I'm saying.
You're talking about imaginary, and I'm talking about a guy that's actually real.
The draft pick will be more valuable than Kaminga.
Okay, that's your plan. Is just wait for the lottery, which is who knows, maybe 3 years from now, and start taking swings at draft picks. That's the plan.
No, because that's not how the Lakers do things. The Lakers go get stars, dude.
Dude, sound like.
Dude, how do you think we got? How do you think? No, dude, how do you think we got AD? You think that came out of nowhere? Come
Going
on,
back to AD, where's all the stars? Where are they at, bro? Where are they at?
dude. I just gave you a whole list of everybody. It's the way
I'm talking in the last 10 years. You're saying your big one draw is AD,
before that we got LeBron.
right? Which you said
Remember?
you wouldn't have done.
Which I said I wouldn't have done,
Right.
but they did it. And the reason I wouldn't have done it is because you're in this mess right now. You're
So
telling me
you're gonna do nothing then and let the mess continue. It's like
you're
not
telling me
cleaning
we
up a
couldn't make
mess. It's like, all right, let the mess sit then. Doesn't matter.
you're
Just let
telling
it
me we
sit.
couldn't make a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. He would come to LA. I know he would.
You think Milwaukee would trade Giannis?
Giannis is ready to go.
Oh God.
And
Yeah. You think they would trade him for LeBron James?
you thought we trade LeBron for Kaminga. How's that different?
Because I'm not the only one, bro, and there's a reason. There's a
Oh my
reason.
god, this is the stupidest.
Yeah, we might have lost each other along the way here, man.
I just totally don't see how this makes sense. See, here's
I
the
just think
thing.
that sitting on a mess, like if there's a mess, you clean it
The
up.
Warriors
And
have a mess
sitting on it,
too.
dude, again, you just keep fucking not. I'm just trying to say the Lakers have a mess, and stop before you talk about the 1989 fucking Celtics. The Lakers have a mess right now, and they need to clean it up or do nothing, which is a very, very dangerous move sometimes, especially in this league. Doing
We don't
nothing
we
can
don't trade
have
LeBron. You're Steph
years.
wasting his time too.
Man, they're in very different positions right now.
No, I guarantee you we'll both be playing teams in the Western Conference.
Right. I don't think LeBron's even going to finish the year.
He might not. He might be sipping wine by February. I don't know.
Yeah. And that's just weird that you would want him sipping wine over a 25-year-old that's ready
Because
to
it's ugly
ball.
and I'm not willing to pay him for the next 7 years.
7 years, man. I don't know how you get that number.
Well, I guess
All right.
five
So
and
in
a
two
half.
years, you're hoping to be in the lottery. Hopefully you have your pick still for that year.
Yeah, that depends on Rob.
So if you
I
don't have
still
any good picks for the next 4 years, and nobody wants to come to LA because it's a gong show,
everybody who comes to LA. What are you talking about?
dude, what world? What world? Nobody wants to come to LA or they'd be there. D'Angelo Russell, is he the top of the barrel? Was he the guy that everybody was like, if you could get anybody, it should be D'Angelo Russell? No, he's the bottom. Why is he the bottom? Because that's all that's left. That's all. Nobody wanted to go to LA, so they get D'Angelo Russell and what's his name? Hachimura. And man, it AR-15's cool, but he's not a great defensive player. He's not a sprinter of, you know, great proportions. The great stars that you think are coming to LA are not there, bro. They're just not. They haven't been, and they're not going to be. You got two, and they're aging quickly.
I'll take
It's
my
just
chance.
reality. The
I'll take my
Chicago
chance
Bulls syndrome.
because you're trying to sell me magic beans.
Yeah, you're the Bulls with Levine being like, no, we'll stick with him because what you're offering isn't good enough. And it's
What
like,
you're
yeah, but what
offering
you've
isn't
had,
good enough.
right? But then you get to enjoy Levine for the next 2 years, right? Is what the Bulls have to eat now because you know what? They didn't switch it up, so now they get Levine and pay out his contract. Enjoy mediocrity for the next however long his contract is, or do you actually make a change, right? The idea is sometimes you have to make a change. It's not going to be perfect, but sometimes you have to make a change. Cutting your losses is a thing. They call
Not
it
if you're
cutting your
making them
losses for
worse
a
in the
reason.
long term.
Right. But
It's
doing nothing makes it worse in the
it's the
long term.
long-term projection of this that I have a problem with.
I just don't see how waiting around for 2 years to do something about the thing that you need to start now. It's like if I had
Look,
something that was due in 5 years, let's say, you wanna be competitive in 5 years. That's your 5-year plan. You wanna be super competitive. You wanna be in the top echelon of the Western Conference. How are you gonna get there? Oh, we're
does
gonna
he
start
get there?
rebuilding around something. No, but we're gonna start building a team that's gonna have an identity, it's gonna have a style, and if we get enough strong players that are playing together, we might be a legitimate thing that when we do get that star that pops out of nowhere, game on. But to say, "Hey, because we're the best, everybody loves us, the Lakers, we'll just wait for the best player to show up again," is like that entitlement. It's the just
Yeah, it is
looking
entitlement
at reality,
because
and
95%
it's
of
not
the time
working.
it works out how we think it's going to.
95%, that's just not numbers that
That
add up
is
to a
numbers.
championship. Is that how many championships that's their percentage of winning? They've won 95% of NBA championships, or is it the Celtics that have more championships?
Because
Anyways,
they
it's
got
not
one
ni
last
it's
because they got
but it's not 95%, unfortunately, because there's another team that has more, right? So it's like there's not a this Lakers kingdom thing is just like, yeah, I can see why people get exhausted by them more and more because you're just not playing in reality. Yeah, yeah,
I am
it's not
playing in
here.
reality. How does Kaminga make me better long term? He doesn't. He makes me serviceable.
Because
He doesn't make
why?
me
Because
better.
this is your argument. Because we'll get something better from the dreamland.
We'll get something better from anywhere.
But again, where?
Anywhere. There's 29 other teams in the league. I ain't got to help you because you want to ditch your problem to us for the next 5 years because you don't want to pay him.
No, I think they'll pay him happily. It's just that there's a slight possibility that it might be worth going all in on LeBron if there was willing partners, and if that's not a big thing, and it's uh, yeah, I think they're happy to pay Kuminga. That's their gem. They
Then
would
do it.
they would
Then do it.
exactly, bro. They're gonna do it
If,
happily, and the
if they
Lakers
were
are
so
going to
happy,
painfully watch the next
if
2
they were so
years.
happy to do it, it would have been done by now.
It's gonna be a lot more enjoyable for them over the next 2 years than it is the Lakers, I'll tell you that much.
They're going to be in the same spot we are.
Wishful thinking, my friend.
We'll see.
Your star's done.
It's
He's
pretty
done
close
leading,
now. It's real close now.
Yeah, yeah. If you watch any of the games,
I
you'll
have.
agree. That
I've watched.
40-point loss inspires you, does it?
No, I'm not worried about me. I told you what we were going to be already.
No, but a 40-point loss to Miami?
I already told you what we're going to be. I'm
Ah,
realistic about this. It's you that wants to get Steph his fifth ring by giving me a bag of magic beans.
I think they have equal chance with Kuminga or LeBron. I just thought it would be interesting because he's got the X factor with it, but honestly, Kuminga is a much, 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 much smarter bet, both
Then you
presently
pay him.
and long term. We are. That's the whole thing. Is the only reason it was a conversation is because it was a fun thing to imagine, and it could be possible if all parties wanted to, but the hard one to convince would be the Golden State Warriors on the Kuminga thing. And so that's why it was such a flip of the like, what do you mean? Like you don't like no, the thing is like we might not give up Kuminga. We might want to just give up nothing type of thing and just like he's a he's gonna get paid and happily so, and LeBron's gonna be retired and
And bless
still
him.
getting paid by the Lakers, and
I want to
he'll be
make this
sitting
very
there on the
clear.
bench and
I want to make this very clear. God bless Kaminga if and when he gets paid. I just hope it's not by us at the figure that you think it's going to be at.
yeah, and again, it's like it's easy to say no to the guy that's not perfect It's a whole lot harder to actually find somebody that is. And if you think that it's that easy, then why don't you have it?
If you think he's worth the 320 million, how come he hasn't signed his new deal yet?
Because they've been making him work for it, as he should. And I think it's not eligible until December, to be honest.
The trade deadline's in February. Let's pick up this conversation then.
Right, for
After
Kuminga, his rookie thing, you're not allowed.
I think the trade deadline's in March, actually, March 8th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. But I think his contract couldn't be renewed until, or whatever extended that thing is, until December anyways. Otherwise, they probably would have.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true.
I don't know. I don't see in I've watched the Warriors enough to say I don't see in Kuminga what everybody else sees. Based on his body of work.
But you've watched a 40-year-old LeBron.
Based on his body of work,
quit on his team.
Yeah,
right,
he's always done that. We've seen LeBron take 10-day vacations in the middle of the season for some reason.
He's never been 40 years old and too tired to get up the floor. Right? And that's fine if you want to rock that for the next 2 years and have him take up
mediocre for the next 5 after this.
But dude, you're going to be trash for the next 10. Unless you do
Kuminga
something.
Doesn't move the needle that much.
It gets you one out of a complete black hole situation with LeBron. 2, gives you something to actually get excited about and build around complementary skill-wise, so maybe you don't have to put all the eggs in one basket. Maybe you can build an actual team, right? But you have to start that process sometime, and if you have LeBron there, you can't start that process. So if you want to wait 2 years, then start that process of rebuilding something around somebody.
Don't rebuild, dude.
What?
That's what you're missing.
People fall out of the sky, just like how
don't
babies get made. Right, and babies get made from the storks in the sky.
Tell me the last year the Lakers went into a rebuild. There you go.
Let's pull it up.
We don't do it. The last time we were even worse than this, we had Smush Parker on our team. We didn't do a rebuild then.
So after Kobe, what happened?
Those were what we call the Smush Parker years.
Okay, how many of those were there?
There was that. I think her brother ran the franchise for like 6 years, and then Jeannie took over, went and got LeBron, and LeBron went and got AD, and that's where we are today. The Lakers don't rebuild, dude.
Except for the 6 years that they did,
and we didn't even make the playoffs once.
You're just making more and more my point, man. It's like when you try to rebuild and you're bad at it, it's complete failure because you're not doing it efficiently.
Kuminga's not the piece you think he is.
And your imaginary player isn't the person he is because he doesn't exist.
I'm telling you, the Lakers don't rebuild, dude.
All right. When you find your player, let me know.
I've been watching this league for 30 years. The Lakers don't rebuild. The Lakers go get stars. As a matter of fact,
yeah, D'Angelo Russell is one hell of a star. I'll give you that.
And as a matter of fact, the NBA blocks our trades from getting stars like Chris Paul because they thought it would be unfair to the rest of the league.
Oh, that's right. The victims. I forgot the Lakers are the victims of the NBA. They've never had any. No, they've been the victims. You're right. You're right.
I'm just pointing out facts, brother. The league blocked the trade that would have made us.
I agree. I agree. The Lakers are the victims. They don't get treated fair. They're the least fair treated team.
But we go get stars, brother. We don't use the word rebuild in LA. Unless you're the Clippers.
Well, you're going to have to find a whole new word then for whatever it is you guys are going to be. Oh, you'll be the Smush Parker years. That's right. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I called it. The Smush Parker era. I'm not lying when I say these things to you. Then she took over for her brother and went and got LeBron, which leaves us in our current situation that we're in now.
Would you say that he went and got LeBron, or he wanted to use you?
Is he in a Laker uniform? Did he bring AD with him?
Is he about to make $100 million and do nothing?
He got us a ring. That's more than Kuminga would have got us.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm saying I'm not going to help a rival get a championship just because LeBron wants to go there, especially when I don't think they're very good. That's all.
I just think the Lakers are not the team you think they are, or the franchise.
You act like the Warriors have this unlimited hourglass sitting in front of them themselves. They're getting old as dinosaurs too.
Yeah, but at least they've got some young, exciting players. Lakers have one and maybe even one, right? He's 24 years old. This is as good as Connect might get. He played 4 years, remember?
I'll take my squad.
Just like they did in 2012.
I'll take my squad because if I remember correctly, the last time LeBron played Steph in a playing game, he won.
If you want to live in the past, brother.
No, I'm talking about 2024. They're going to be right beside us.
But you're saying who has a brighter future? That's no question.
Last year.
Man, I don't know, like, the basketball I've watched this year is almost unanimously recognized as a great, out to the season for the Warriors, despite the recent thing. It's like it's almost unanimous that it's like, wow, they look different. They look like they've got depth. They're not perfect, but they're much better than last year. Everybody has said that. And appropriately so. They've had some great games and had some really interesting pieces like Healed turn the dial for them with Wiggins back playing elite defense. Right. So, anyways, the unanimous consent is much better than last year. Much better team. The unanimous consent on the Lakers is same at best. You see the trajectory here.
107, 90, 17 points. 113, 105.
So you would say that despite everybody's assessment with their eyes, it's actually the Lakers that are off to a better start. They've got the stronger team this
136,
year.
136. No, I'm saying we're exactly the same. Like I've said every pod this year, we're exactly the same. The Golden State Warriors will play the LA Lakers in a play-in game. That's what I've been saying since the beginning of the year.
Saying it's clear that Golden State has a better team than they did last year. There's a bunch of teams that are worse than they were last year, and the team that's better is going to be the team that's not in the play-in. Like Sacramento's not going to be there. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of teams that are not going to be there now because they're worse than they were last year. Golden State is not worse than they were last year. They're better, much better.
Well, I disagree.
All right, that again puts you in the 0.00001%.
And as you know, I'm hitting an 80% clip on these receipts that I got here, so I haven't been wrong too often on this podcast, G.
All right, we'll keep them. Gonna need them on this one.
By the way, the Lakers and Warriors play on Christmas Day. That's gonna be fun.
Do.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to me. You know what? We should stream that one. It's at 5, but it's at 5 o'clock. That might be a bit too early for you.
Maybe.
And then on LeBron's birthday, the Warriors play the Cavs, who beat them 136-17. 117. So
Mm.
there's also that.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
going to be an interesting run. We'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah. I think we know how it's going to go, though. It's not going to go good for the Lakers.
It's not going to go good for Golden State either.
All indications say that's up for debate, but it's not really up for debate with the Lakers.
Yeah, 136, 117. That was a heck of a game you guys had that night.
Whatever shade you want to throw, it's fine. It's just one's
By the way,
debatable
bro,
and one's not.
by the way, you're frozen right now, dude. I don't know what happened to your computer,
Oh,
but you're. Oh, there you go. You're back now. But you
oh,
were frozen for like 30 seconds there.
oh.
But this is not new. You knew that. You knew I said this at the beginning, so I don't know what
Well,
to
I've just
tell
been
you.
evaluating with my eyes of a team that's much better this year than they were last year. So I don't know what to tell you other than
How much of
watch
that
more
7 game stretch
basketball.
did you see?
How much of the first bit did you see? You seem obsessed with the negative bits, man. It's like, talk about the package, talk about the whole thing.
All right, they lost to the Suns. They lost to the Nets.
When I say talk about the whole thing, you're just like,
They
okay,
lost
I'll
to
go
the
back to
Spurs.
the negative again. I don't understand what point you're making.
They've beaten some quality teams along the way, like the Celtics. They did beat the Celtics.
Again, I'm not looking at box scores
I'm
exclusively.
not look.
I've just
I'm
been
not looking at
watching
that.
basketball and watching basketball. It's a team that has much better flow, much better energy, much better teamwork than it was last year. There's role players that are excelling. Gary Payton's looking great. Wiggins is looking better than ever. Uh, he was gone all last year because he was taking care of his dying dad. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that. And he's coming out like a demon this year. Hell of
Much
a defender.
respect to him for that first and foremost.
Yeah, he took the lead. He was like the official
Like
caretaker or something like
like
that,
like
like a real
like you said earlier in the podcast, family over everything, man. That's what really
big
matters.
time,
Like at the
big
end of the
time.
day, as disagreeing as we are on this, it's just this is just basketball. We're sitting in the barbershop right now and we're
No
having a
doubt.
discussion.
We're
When
probably
life
both due for a haircut.
when life intervenes, that's more important than
Amen.
basketball. And let's face it,
Amen.
we're very privileged that we get to sit here and do this podcast.
Hey, it's a pleasure and a privilege, man. Absolutely,
But how about the
really is.
Pelicans? They I don't know what to make of that team. They've been very bad again
It's
this year.
it's that's another one where it's like, hey man, you bet on the wrong horse. And that's one you can't necessarily blame them on because I think a lot of
Yes.
people would have made the
Well,
same bet. It's
yeah, a
just
lot
that
of people
you don't double down on the bet that doesn't work, like, and they did, and so that's on them. It was clear that Zion didn't have interest in being disciplined, and hey, man, talking to a guy that struggles with discipline all the time. But
likewise.
when when it
If
comes down to
if
signing
you
the
know
paper and it's your decision to give this guy money or not, if I was the person giving the money and it was me and that one at that stage, it's
let
pretty clear that you probably shouldn't have done it, right?
let
Like,
me just say, you want to talk discipline problems? Look at the consistency of this here YouTube channel. So I'm just as guilty as the next guy. But
and it would then, yeah, if the New Orleans Pelicans were looking for, somebody to be their consistent YouTube guy that does the things, well, maybe they wouldn't give you the big bag unless that was something you're going for, right?
and see
Zion was going for the big bag, and so they gave it to him. And it's like,
here
man,
you want to know
they
why
shouldn't
I'm
have
so
given him the bag, right?
here's why I'm so stuck on this though. I've watched the Lakers pass on Tatum. I've watched the Lakers pass on Brown. And I'm not gonna settle for a player like Kaminga, who's a B minus star when there
Bro,
are
think
other
about what you just
options
said.
available.
You passed on Tatum. What's to say you don't pass on the next one and end up with another dud? At
I'll
least
take that
Kaminga
risk.
is a solid bet.
I'll take
He's
that risk.
proven.
Not at the price
Right.
tag.
Right.
Not
So
at the
then
price.
it's a fair sort of say, like, I'd rather go with the unknown rather than the known
I'd rather go with the.
because the known is too expensive, and I'd rather go with the unknown because
That's
it's
pretty
the
much where I
unknown.
sit. That's all.
That's fair.
That's
It's
pretty much
almost
where I sit.
yeah, 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 I understand that.
And I
Just
also don't
then
want to help
as
players.
a yeah, as my manager brain's just like, "Ah, I can't sit and do nothing. I can't just be mediocre, right? It's like I have to do something." And yeah, I don't know, yeah, especially when it's the unknown where it's just like if my gut's saying it's hard to draft these days because guys are unpredictable, somebody might be the best player and they're 17th, and somebody might be total dud and they're number 1. You know, we've made bad decisions before. We haven't really made any good decisions for draft in a long time, but we're gonna make the bet that that's still better than the expensive known bet, and that's still understand that. It's just to me, that would be too much of a risk for me because I'd be like, it's just no guarantee that Magic Angel's coming, and he can still come and pair up with our Kaminga. It's just we need to have somebody in the gym that can score, like play beyond Austin Reeves and connect, right? Because if we don't get the Magic Angel, then we're totally screwed, and we don't have anybody. Like that's part of the deal too. Is what if the Angel doesn't come? And that's again, that's an expensive notion. It's like that's not free. Being horrible isn't free. That's a cost. Whereas yes, coming is a cost, but maybe you can
No,
actually make something good
but
out of it, right?
he's
But you're
so
going with
overpriced.
the higher risk, which might leave you penniless,
But
right?
he's
With
so overpriced.
Kaminga, it is, but he secures your place on the board as a basketball team that can at least now start to maneuver pieces around rather than being a penniless
Okay,
franchise name that has to
okay,
just beg and plead for stars to come. And if they don't come, you're starting over from zero 2 years
but
from when you
but
could have
but
started it.
look at
And
the
there's no
Raptors.
guarantee you'll find it in the next 5 years, anyways.
Look at the Raptors. Just set their whole franchise back 5 years by paying out a bunch of money. There's also that
But
side of it.
yeah, and I could see their argument now if they were saying, hey, we have a product to put out. We can't put out a G League team. We have to have NBA players, and we couldn't find any better. And this is what it is. We're going to do our best to try to make the best out of this combination of guys. Then I would say, I hear you. I hear you. Waiting around for something perfect is a gamble, and you might not be able to afford that. And there's no guarantee. There's absolutely no guarantee that Angel will come. So it's the slow and steady turtle way, which is all right. You get a Kaminga, you get a this, you get a that, you get a this, you get a that,
You
and
know
you
what's
build for the future.
you know what's ironic about this whole thing? Either way we could go, both of us could be wrong.
Well, I don't think there's a right or wrong. It's just how would you manage the franchise in imaginary land of like the same principles of poker and stuff apply. It's just much different, like playing board. I think, right? It's just how would you manage your risk, and there's no right or wrong. It's just because there's no guarantee on any of it. It's just which risk do you think is going to be a bigger risk, and which one are you willing to take at what point? And yeah,
Well,
hoping for sort of the or betting on the fact that yes, it is the city of angels, and that's tends to be where angels show up. There's still no guarantee that the angels make their way in the next 5-10 years. And to have zero zilch is where the Lakers have gone before, and it's like, woo, you slip into Charlotte Hornets territory of irrelevance, and that's not a place you want to be. So the Raptors, while they'll be mediocre and potentially good if they work things out, it's still better than being absolute nothingness because you didn't get the stars that you wanted, and you're Detroit, you drafted wrong. Now you're stuck 10 years, right? And it's like, it's a lot of risk in that. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't have the
We're,
answers,
we're
and I'm not. It ain't
yeah,
my job to figure it out. That's on Rob Pelinka. So
yeah. Think it. Well, no, I don't think it's up to him. LeBron will figure it out for him.
see, I've been telling you we shouldn't have signed that guy to begin with.
I'm telling you, that's the whole thing. He's the poison pill because if you're not competing for a championship, he's kind of useless. He's just a big novelty act in the sense that he can still do some amazing, shocking things, but it's in doses now. It can only be in doses, and to be hitched to him as a bit of a like, hey, yeah, you're the dosage guy, and we got to have the captain and the leader and stuff come from
Anyway,
other Warriors. Yeah.
how did this turn into the Lakers versus Warriors podcast? Is there anything else going on around the association this week?
Nothing as exciting as the City of Angels versus the Pirate Port.
We'll get that play-in game in April, I'm sure.
Yeah,
But,
and then when they get through that, they might be facing the Warriors in the first round.
No, we're going to be playing the Warriors in the play-in game. I told you this already. I have a crystal ball.
Maybe. I think it would be a tough place for the Lakers to find themselves in, and I don't know if LeBron, like, his role does matter, and I think if he doesn't pick a lane, I don't know what happens with the Lakers. It's an awkward fit if he doesn't pick a lane. And if he's just
The
sort of
Warriors,
in, like, one game in, one game out, sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not. He's
the
too old
Warriors
to be
don't play
that.
till Wednesday.
Oh, well.
But yeah, there's not much going on in the
See,
association except for shout out again to CP3 for becoming number 2 on the all-time assist list, behind
John Morant's dunk.
the great Jason Kidd, and John Morant did have a dunk that we need to talk about.
Yeah, not to take away from the CP3 legacy there. It's just man.
No, but let's talk about this dunk.
It's enough to inspire
I wish we could
an
show
army, right? It's one of those things that can mobilize people across the board. Like Memphis is such an interesting team because they've got depth. They had a G League team for a whole year play NBA games, right? So they got to mine all of that experience for an entire year while their guys sat out. Like they literally had a whole starting lineup sit out. And now they've got all those guys. Yeah. And now though their bench was their starters last year. So they've got guys that played starting positions all year experience-wise that are coming off the bench now that are killing it because they're so much better than the other bench guys. And I was just like, damn, that is a sneaky advantage in this day and age because depth drops off for a lot of teams, especially wear and tear.
Ironically enough, the next team they play after the Rockets is the Grizzlies for the Warriors. So
that'll be a great couple of games there.
That's
Houston,
Wednesday, Thursday.
Those are good conference games. Who won the last Houston one? I think it was
Golden State.
Yeah.
And then they got the Timberwolves, but then their schedule gets a little soft.
Man, Rudy Gobert. He deserves all the crap he gets, doesn't he?
Well, they overpaid for him, first of all.
But just his whole thing, it's flopping around again tonight, and it's just exhausting. He's like Luka. It's just
we could have a Shackton career on Rudy Gobert.
Yeah. Between him, McGee, and Jordan Poole, those guys probably have 100 clips combined.
Because if you remember, the whole thing with the pandemic started with Rudy Gobert messing around and having the league be shut down. So,
That
you
is the
know,
ultimate bad look of like, man, could you have been more?
irresponsible,
Yeah, and what's that word? It's the Aaron Rodgers thing. It's the like,
arrogant.
yeah, there's something so arrogant about the way he did it, right? That was just like,
Yeah, he's
who
like,
the
I'm going to touch
fuck?
all the microphones.
Yeah, just made a mockery of it, just like, hey man, nobody knows what this is yet. Like, settle down. It's like, it's nothing. It's like,
And then just
all
standing
all
in,
indications are saying this is something.
and then standing for the three in the key because you're mad at your teammate. That's a whole other.
He does weird things. He's a weird player, but he does have value, and it's nice to
Like
see weird
like
players in the NBA.
we
Yeah.
disagree with each other constantly, but that respect factor is always there between us. G, you know,
Amen, brother. Amen. Yeah.
not gonna leave you hanging just because we disagree on something.
No doubt, man. And that's probably a good lesson for all of us. You know, don't take things personally.
Well, no, see,
No,
because that's what
yeah.
happens. I bet you there's people that watch this podcast and are like, "Did these two even get along?" Look, G's my
Hey,
guy.
so sometimes I wonder how Stephen A gets along with people after he goes at them so hard, and it's like his lifelong friends, right? It's
I
like,
don't think he
you know
does.
where you're coming from.
No, can I touch on that for just a quick second?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think Stephen A gets along with anybody.
Like he's all stage, and then when he's backstage, like he doesn't have any actual friends type of thing.
Here's my thing about Stephen A. because I've been watching him over the years from First Take. But look at him and Max Kellerman. He admits he's the guy that went and got Max fired. He he basically said me and Max didn't fit, and I went and got. And if you
He
listen
was
to
a
him
bit of
talk,
an Aaron Rodgers himself too, though. That fucking
he was,
I didn't like him either. Yeah.
but also if you listen to him talk about Skip, he's like, I haven't talked to Skip in a long time, but that's my brother. But gee, if that's your brother, you're not gonna leave him hanging.
That's
You,
true.
you know, and you listen to the way he talks to people. He doesn't like anybody.
That's
And
true. He might
Stephen
not.
A. And
Yeah.
Stephen A. If you hear this, you're more than welcome to refute me in any way you see fit. But the evidence tells me, my brother, you're not a friendly guy.
Yeah, he'd probably be a weird hang.
Is that not like I'm just presenting evidence? You can tell me if I'm off base or not.
No, yeah, I do pick up on that. He's that guy that would have a
And he
very
and he and he admits,
on and off switch type of thing. Yeah.
even when he's talking about Pat McAfee, he's like, "Am I mad that Pat McAfee's the highest paid guy at ESPN?" No, because he got his turn, and when I get mine, I'm gonna make sure that I'm. It's always been about Stephen A.
Yeah.
His whole
Yeah. No.
shtick is about
Yeah.
Stephen A.
And I think, yeah, I think in a weird way, he's almost like an old school somebody that really cares about the craft to the point where that's all they care about in life. It's like they've gone past the need for deep relationships with family, friends, anything that's just pure. Like, can we make the great show today? You know what I mean? It seems like he's got a bit of that obsession of
Like, like I know
like
where,
make the stage show the best show every night, and whatever that is we can do to like, and it's got to be his vision though, because he's the conductor. But I
like
think
I
he's
know we just
obsessed
spent
with
the
it
last,
in life. Yeah.
I know we just spent the last hour arguing, G. But if this podcast came to a point where like you call me up when we're off the air and we're like we can't be friends anymore, I would just stop doing the podcast because it's not that
Yeah.
important. It's not that
No
deep.
doubt.
But see, Steve, the way Stephen A. looks at it is I'm gonna get mine, and I don't know what event in his life I don't know Stephen A. I don't know what event in his life might have triggered that switch, but he's like, I'm gonna get mine, and whoever gets in my way is gonna get run over. And you know
A
what?
little bit. Yeah.
I'm not saying that to throw shade. I'm saying that as the ultimate sign of respect because I couldn't do it.
Yeah, and I think he separates the two pretty well, right? One's business and one's not business. And if it's business, got to play by the rules of the game and not get personal about it, right? It's a hard thing to do, and I agree. It's always been a struggle for me to because I'm very like, yeah, the worlds blend. You know, if we're working with people, and immediately they become friends, family. You know, it's just very quick to develop those human relationships, and it's sometimes hard to separate the business and the personal. And he's a dude that seems like made that clear early.
And see, I think
And yeah,
I think that's why we disagree on Kaminga, because I think
mm,
you're looking at it as a GM. I'm looking at it as what's best for my franchise. I'm thinking as a fan. I'm always going to think fan first.
oh yeah, no, if you're talking straight fan, then yeah,
The
that
deal
deal
makes no
would
sense.
it'd break the internet. But if you broke everything down into those dollars and cents of risk over reward of, I think there's an argument at least to be made that um, getting rid of dead weight and adding some fresh legs could be a springboard to building something stronger than you currently
I don't
have
know. I'm
without
always,
sacrificing the long term. Because you could
but
still add that superstar, but at least you just have this kind of one little rock in your
like
thing that
that's the
you know.
difference between me and Stephen A. Though is Stephen A. is very good at being ice cold. I can't be ice cold. Like honestly,
Yeah,
gee, if they came to me and said, "Okay, we want at the buzzer at ESPN, but we want to replace G," I'd be like, no, that's my guy. That's the guy I
well, it
want."
depends who you replace me with. You know, you gotta hear all the factors first.
No, I don't. No, I don't, because nobody's gonna
Yeah, I
be as
hear
good
you.
as you.
Yeah, too
I
candid.
mean,
Okay.
and it's not just because we're friends. It's because we don't agree on everything. We do get heated, but we do it in a respectful way. Now, to our
Mhm.
listeners, I know it may seem like we're going in circles sometimes, but that's just how passionate we get about the game.
That's just because we can't afford an editor yet. All right.
And when we can, I'm sure he'll make us look better than we actually are.
Yeah, man, that's what they do. That is their job. You know, every professional little podcast, as simple as it seems setup wise, they all have a producer. They all have a bunch of setups going and stuff. So, you know,
And here's the
all
reason
in
I don't
time.
send. Here's the truth to the reason why I don't send the podcast to an editor and I do it myself. It's because we can't afford it.
Yeah, and
Number
I don't
one,
think we're aiming. It's all about what is your goals, right? Like if our
I,
goals to create a specific product and benchmark, then
but here's
that
number
might be part
two.
of it.
But here's number two. The other reason I don't send it to an editor and to do it myself is because it would take so long for the podcast to get back to us. The information we give you on the podcast, if we don't post it the next day, is out of date.
Honestly, might have to start be doing live drops, right? Like the way the speed of everything goes these days. It's like the podcast that I listen to on Monday morning isn't the one that was recorded on Sunday night before the last game finished.
Yeah,
It's the
okay.
one that's recorded in the morning live because all the games have finished. I don't want to hear about the Laker game that's about to happen after it's happened. And that's the space of just 12 hours. But hey, that's a big difference between a guy Monday
And
morning listening
and
to a show
and
or not.
here's how I'm gonna put it to you. Okay, let's say we do the podcast on a Sunday night, right? And we decide, okay, we're gonna post it on Tuesday, but the Lakers play on Monday night, and AD throws out his back and is out for 3 weeks. Then the whole conversation we just had is obsolete.
Yeah. And it seems only really interesting, I think, depending on what you're doing, is if you're doing relevant content, it has to be next to almost the minute of the thing. But if you're doing more just general topic based conversation, then it doesn't need to be as timely. But anything that's connected to
Well,
the, yeah,
that's why we talk about the things we do around the league, because there's not that much news happening right now,
yeah, it's pretty
and
quiet.
B, we have to entertain people, so we come up with scenarios and we have discussions. And yes, like I said, we go in circles, but we're just so passionate about these things. And
Honestly,
like,
most times I forget that we're podcasting and we're just conversing, and then yeah, we're gonna have to.
well, that's the thing, people. If you could hear the before pre-show and after show, you might have a better time, to be honest. But we love doing the podcast, and gee, we're coming up on that 2 hour mark. After telling each other we're gonna do a short pod today,
Short one. See,
and it
this
was
is
our
it. We're
longest.
both in the end. We're both lying to ourselves.
Yeah, and it's because we love talking hoops, isn't it?
Amen, bro. Amen. We want to
But by
get
the way,
into something that we care about, and there's nothing wrong with that.
just for the listeners, have you watched White Men Can't Jump yet? Have you seen this movie?
No, not yet. Not yet. Just the one scene still, but that might go on tonight, actually. I could use a lighthearted laugh. That'd
It
be
is a
good.
lighthearted movie. I'm not going to spoil
Oh,
any of the
man.
jokes,
I
but
did download Demolition Man too because might as well do a double snipes.
yeah, why not?
It looks good though. I had to download Double Team after because I was like, oh man, if I'm gonna do an action night, that has to be a part of it.
Anyway, we're at 155.42. Any last words for the people tonight?
Yeah, I got one. Dennis Rodman.
Rodman. All
He's
right,
an
and on that,
alien. No, hold on. One more. Just based on one thing about him. I only saw a quick snapshot of him in the Double Team thing, but one thing did jump out to me of like what's different about him than some of the guys in the NBA today. There's a level of confidence that is still unmatched that Dennis Rodman carries with himself all the time. Like it's just his thing. It was staggering to see again, just like, oh right, that dude's an NBA player. And he acted like that all the time. There's nobody in the NBA outside of maybe Ja Morant and Anthony Edwards that have that much um, swagger,
yes,
like
I would say
truly.
I would
And
agree with
even
that.
then, they don't compare. They'd be like his children or something along for the ride. He's just one of the most ice cold dudes I've ever laid eyes on. So shout out to the Rodman.
Shout out to the Rodman. He's, he doesn't. I will say this: he wasn't the greatest player, Dennis Rodman, but he will not get
No,
enough credit for the impact he had on the league and the game itself.
man, and for some of the crazy stuff that he was able to
Did you see the one where
do
he
with
drove?
grace.
Did you see the one where he jumped off the cliff and they had him by the they had him hooked up to a harness, obviously, but they slungshot him too far, so he hit the cliff and knocked himself out. I can't remember if that was a fear factor or not, but there was a show that he was on. They had him by the harness because they did some kind of crazy stunt. They slungshot him too far. He smacks the cliff and knocks himself out. Is that not the most Dennis Rodman thing ever?
Oh man,
Is
there's a
that
couple
not
of scary stories about that guy, right? It's just like, how did this guy how does he even exist? And
because he's too
how is he
sweet,
a
man?
basketball player? There's
NWO
no,
was just too sweet.
yo, it truly special, man. It is an anomaly. As much as Michael Jordan's an anomaly, I feel like Dennis
But
Rodman is
but
in his
isn't
own
that
way.
why we love Dennis? Isn't that why we love
Yeah.
Dennis?
Yeah,
Be-
and it wasn't like, people trying on a look. He was the look. He had like pink, purple, leopard. It's like nobody can do that. He's like, I am that.
and, and if you go back and watch the Bad Boy Pistons, right?
Yeah.
He's got the straight black hair. You would think he's no different than anybody else. And then he left Detroit, and then all of a sudden we got weird Dennis Rodman.
I want to know what happened there. Like truly, because it's not a normal like, oh, twist. It's like, nah, alien abduction, new human.
I'm in Black 4, the Dennis Rodman story.
Dude, did you know he actually was involved in that thing with North Korea at some point where Kim Jong Un was like the biggest fan, and then there was some controversy with the U.S. and North Korea, and he was sent as an ambassador. Motherfucking
Really?
Dennis Rodman went over
Dennis-
there, like one of the only Americans to step foot in North Korea in the history. Fucking Dennis Rodman.
How did
Full
I go?
shades.
How did I go from the outro to talking about Dennis Rodman?
Maybe we do have some magic, Mo. Maybe we do.
We do have some magic. And hey, Dennis, if you by somehow you see this, Dennis, please,
Imagine that guest. Is he gettable? Is he a gettable guest?
please,
Is he?
Dennis, if you see this podcast by any stretch of the imagination, please feel free to sit down with us and do an interview. It would be the greatest thing in At the Buzzer history, would it not? Dennis
Man, that
Rodman
might be the
doing
greatest thing in my life. That might be.
But Dennis, please give us an interview.
What's that celebrity platform where they do the little
Cameo?
I wonder if he's on Cameo.
You should look that up. You should look up Dennis Rodman on Cameo. That'd be hilarious.
And if he's not, let's get him on there, folks. That's money to be made. Oh, don't tell me. Oh my God, is this real? Oh, not available right now. But dude, the worm might be gettable. He was. It says he was. I don't know if he still is. And it was only $30
to get Dennis Rodman.
Oh, I think just to send him a message, it cost you $28. Actually, I don't know.
That's for Dennis to send you to tell Dennis to give Dennis a message for somebody else. That's how Cameo works.
Right. Okay.
So
yeah,
if you were
$30,
like,
man.
Hey, Worm, tell Mo Merry Christmas from G. From use the worm to do it.
Exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
You know what we should do? We should pay. Great idea. We should pay the $28, and I know we're still recording, so everybody's gonna hear this. We should pay the $28 and get him to do an At the Buzzer spot for us before every show. That's what we should do.
Dude, do you know how down he probably would be if we gave him some leeway to like, let's get creative here, Dennis. Like, let's make something crazy, like at the button. And just get him to work with us a little bit. That would be viral. We would have to get ready, man. Because when the moment, John Wooden quote for you, when the moment comes or the opportunity comes, the time to prepare is too late. Right. And so you got to prepare. Yeah, man.
But it's after 11, bro. So we gotta get this wrapped up so that we can download it and get it ready. Probably means the episode will be out at about 8 o'clock tomorrow night because, well, it's kind of late. So, but until next time, for G, the bistro of basketball knowledge, and myself, Mo Money. May your ego come from a place that keeps you humble. Mamba out.